Hi there, this is Live Prepper here, and we're going to talk about camouflage today. Now, I take a lot of time to look these articles up, and I do different types of videos, but the thing is, too, is that I want you to do more research on your own. But this one here is called a camouflage and evasion, staying hidden while on the move. And this here is something that's important. We talk about all this stuff on sites, and we talk back and forth. So this here is something a lot of people talk about, but how much do we really actually do in this situation? It's called a personal and shelter concealment, particularly during a tactical situation, is a survival skill that if you cannot master will leave you exposed. Typically, your camouflage strategy in a wilderness survivor would be cryptic, which means you built then into your background to avoid detection. You want to resemble your background to confuse the human eye, and you want your shelter to blend in as well. Humans instinctively look for and try to identify a face in any situation it's over. And is likely, as it's talking about, instinctive reaction that was used thousands of years ago to locate the predator in the bush. And it's just a nature thing. You look, and your radar is up, and you're looking for that something that ain't quite there. They stick out. And it says, animals know what a human silhouette looks like, and anyone tracking you most certainly will. So camouflaging yourself is very important in a situation like that. People look for faces and everything they see. They try to identify a body to go along with it. People will look for a head, hanging arms, and legs. And all these situations, you will look for a headgear and equipment that you would normally expect someone to be carrying, such as a rifle and a pack. And talk about all these features can be broken up so that someone is seeing cannot be pieced together and identified as a human body. So make it where you break yourself up basically. And I'm not talking about literally breaking your bones up. I'm talking about making it where you blend in is important in this situation. Trackers will scan with their eyes and never focus for long periods at any one object, and this is particularly true when hunting for others in darkness. You use those night visions to spot you at night. And I'm not certain, but I don't know if we're allowed to buy them anymore. I remember there was some issues over people buying night goggle visions and stuff to prevent people from having them. But if you're able to afford them, that's something good because you actually might able to afford them if, on an SHTF situation, traveling at night, and if you're able to afford these night goggles, you could actually make some distance where whoever's following you or whatever may not have night goggles, and they would not be able to move in the night like you are in that situation. So there's something to think about. And it talks about the human face is unique, so your camouflage routine must break up your facial patterns, and this can be done by a variety of methods. It talks about the shine on your face and stuff. Now, we all know about the basic shine on it. You see football players will put right here a black smear on their eye. That's not to shine off, to reflect it to help with them see. But that's something you need to do in a situation. You've seen in some of these old Rambo movies and war movies and stuff like that where they'll have a streak down and this and that. Even using mud on your face will help reduce the shine on your face. And there is berries and things out there. You can make a mixture of plants and berries as well to also use to help blend on some of your face breakup as well on that. It says the skin will reflect light or it'll shine and be subdued with, you can thus be subdued with mud, camel, sticks or paint, wood ash, boot polish, or charcoal. Now, you've seen a lot of them, they'll turn around, you see them reach into the fire and they'll do this and then they got the black smudge on it. And charcoal is something that you make that you can turn around and create yourself in a situation and make your own face paint that and add a little water to it and mix in with it. Oil and skin in particular will shine, it says. And you want to break up the face so it's not recognizable. That's something you want to do in that situation. Metal objects will shine whether they are painted or not in many cases. Weapons can be wrapped in strips, a dark cloth for night movement, and for daylight hours you can use strips of camouflage cloth, which should be prepared ahead of time for this purpose, and use leaves and other vegetation as well. You can pull, like I say, you could take and vines, like morning glories you come across, or honey, I'm talking about honey plants, honeysuckle, excuse me. Things like that, the vines will make an excellent camouflage to wrap around your plant, thing for temporarily. Even, then you can rotate out the type of material you want to use. You don't want to use a bright color material, but you do want to kind of break it up some. In that case, I've seen where one gentleman had his gun and it had a series of strings hanging off of it, where he had put several layers of cloth over a time span over this thing here and covered it up where there was no shine to it, so it blended in with the surroundings and you was not even aware that it was there. Fit in, of course, is a important role. Now, if you're in a desert area and stuff, that's kind of hard in some cases because you got to think about that in another situation of how you're going to hide and survive in situations. So, currently, the area does play a role, it says, and that means which your background means you would use what is available in your environment. Ideally, you know ahead of time whether you'll be in a region that is snow covered, sandy, heavy forest, and so on, so you can prepare accordingly. You've seen these shows and stuff or military maneuvers where these gentlemen are dressed in white winter clothes. And they're blending in with the snow because you cannot see them that easily in that situation. The same way will be for the sand and everything. You need to try to have clothes that you can blend in with that area. So whatever area you're living in, you need to think of what kind of clothes you want to use for that situation. You are going to, in a SHTF situation, you may have to improvise and make your own stuff with what you find, of course. Then it also talks about heavy vegetation must hide their camouflage, but also conceals the enemy as well. And so a branch with the leaves attached along with bunches of grass secured to parts of your body equipment will help break up any recognizable outline. However, broken branches and rippled vegetation is evidence of your presence to anyone tracking you. So be mindful of leaving a trail that can be followed. So, and that's how a lot of trackers find you. But you break a branch off, you do this, you do little things you're not aware of. So you need to think about what you are going to collect and where you're going to collect it at. And make sure it's not so obvious that you collected the branches and things like that. Even if you turn around, you want to try to create a false trail, you can do that by breaking the branches and kind of leading away from the direction you're at as a situation for a temporary to help do that. But then you need to be really very careful and stealth-like to avoid breaking any other branches or leaving any kind of footprints. A human walking upright is immediately recognized, so you have to do something about this when you're moving in the open. If you suspect others are tracking you and crossing roadways or paths, crouch or even low crawl across. Detractors cannot spot movement out of the corner of their eyes, so move slowly and deliberately, especially in open areas. Pause often if you suspect or know you are being tracked. So if you are spotted while in heavy vegetation, your movement cannot be as easily tracked. Pausing will also allow you to listen for other movements. So basically just telling you, you don't need to run like a crazy human across things. You have to think more like a basis of an animal-like posture in many ways. You may have to crawl on all fours. You may have to zigzag your movements. You may have to climb a tree. Who knows? But you need to think different along that way to avoid being noticed so much. And then it says tractors will attempt to get your distance and will try to set up an ambush point where they expect you will end up. Backtrack and move left to right to get to your destination to confuse anyone, attempting to anticipate where you may come out of the bush, for example. So, the area that you're going is a little bit easier, and that will be where they're thinking you are going, coming out of that bush, and they're waiting on you. But moving down 500 yards to 1,000 yards or whatever could make a difference instead of you coming out of the designated area they think. It says, of course, and then it's talking about overhead surveillance also. In past years, those on the ground could hear aircraft flying about and could seek cover or conceal themselves until the aircraft moves on. Today, however, with drones readily available to almost anyone, you may not be able to hear or virtually detect any air reconnaissance. Overhead cover is important, and you should always assume there is an overhead vehicle. They can pick you by body heat, and that's something you need to think about is camouflaging yourself on the body heat situation. Mud will camouflage much of your body heat right there. So that's something to think about. So it's looking at different objects to conceal your body heat in a situation will help you now. Now it says a typical drones operate during daylight hours will have a camera, and they may very well be transmitting videos and pictures back to the operator in real time. This means the information received is time sensitive, and in some cases this will be actionable intelligence, which could be used by anyone tracking you. Your overhead cover with moving about and staying in the shadows or resting. You know where you are, casting a shadow, because it can be spotted from overhead or from a higher elevation. You may be standing behind or under a tree, but your shadow is not. Experienced trackers look for these types of signs. I really wasn't thinking about the shadow, but the shadow is a point. In a situation, if you're hiding or whatever, blending in is another thing to think about. Covering up your shadow and breaking your shadow up. If you're hiding in a location, you need to think about putting some branches or things like that in front of you to hide you to break up your shadow in a situation like that. Drones may also use thermal heat and seeking devices at night that can detect your body heat. You can use water by immersing yourself in it if the weather is warm to match your heat signatures, or use a thermal blanket to keep your heat signature from displaying. You probably cannot totally match your heat signature with thermal cameras, but you may reduce it enough to make it look like a small animal and not a human being. Snow caves in the winter can also deflect your heat, but be careful about chilling yourself to the point of hypothermia in cold weather. So you got to be careful on that by making your snow caves or even getting in some of them that's already made up. You got to make sure you stay in a warm situation too. You don't want to go to hypothermia. So something to think about. You do not climb over objects. You can crawl over or walk around, and of course, never silhouette your body against the skyline on a hilltop. Lie down before you would cross the top and inch your way up over so you can view the surrounding area. In a situation that is a hillside, you just don't get up and walk over. You just can't do it. You have to take a little time. You're going to have to crawl over up to it and look over the other side to make certain that there is no one there looking for you in that situation. So it's a lot to think about, but there's a lot of common sense here. It says base camp, staying in one place means you can be tracked to that one place. However, if you use the proper camouflage and evasion techniques to reach your base camp, your warrior is now keeping a low profile to avoid the attention by anyone that happens to be in the area or other areas. If you're going to have a base camp, it needs to be camouflaged. It needs to be blended into the surroundings, and you need to have a way in there, more than one way, probably, basically. Not necessarily just walking into it. You may need to have to crawl into it to hide in that base area. Once at base camp, you can output a day glow orange tent, and that is the end of it. A tent is not ideal in any tactical situation because you could be essentially trapped in one of the camps if the camp is overrun and your vision is limited while inside. Of course, if you have enough personnel that can act as guards, then tents may work, but if by yourself in a hostile area, it is not recommended you set up a tent. You need to, if you're going to have a shelter, you need to build a shelter from what you find around there, from branches, sticks, twigs, or whatever. And you don't need to make the shelter extremely tall. Actually, you need it to the point where you can kind of crawl in there. The lower the shelter is, the warmer you will stay in that situation, and less noticeable it will be for those that's looking. Some will set up tents, however, and then set about hacking up all the vegetation in the mid-air to camouflage the tent. This, of course, is a sure way of being noticed. If you do not cut vegetation and use this camouflage, it will have a few days and will immediately stand out. Additionally, signs of cut bush can be spotted from long distances and from the air. Again, this is what I was talking about. You got to go out and find these twigs and find them to create you a area to hide in. You don't need to cut all the vegetation now because what you're doing is you're creating a clearing. And as the plants die down, you will be more exposed in that situation. So you do not want to clear the area out. You want to maintain a small footprint to avoid detection. Use tarps or natural shelter in the area so as not to disturb the area. Use live vegetation as camouflage by scraping your tarp between trees, over limbs, and so on without cutting or trampling all the bushes and grasses in the area. It says use a Dakota fire hose to conceal your fire. And if you go build an open fire, never place it in front of the shelter. Sitting around staring in the campfire is not something you want to do while in hostile area. Waste must be burned to include human waste immediately, and so it's not obvious you are digging in the area. Pick up a large rock carefully and then dig your waste hole where the rock lays, and then carefully replace the rock. That's something I hadn't thought about. But if you have an area where you've got a good sized rock, dig your hole and place your waste there, and then bury it again in that situation. So that way they will not be aware of it, and it will be covered up. Drones are already concealed while at camp, and you were able to plan. You could use camouflage net to conceal your shelter from overhead surveillance. Otherwise, use natural features in the area for concealment, such as overhead cliff areas and things like that. And natural things like trees that's grown together and stuff, that will help. And of course, it says do not use the same path at the same time every day visit at and any water source to avoid creating a warm path that'd be spotted from there. So you need to change your routes and your paths from different areas as you go. And then of course it's talking about the heat source in the cool and cold environments. The fire and shelter concerning staying warm to avoid hypothermia. With wooden survival shelters, there are other things like debris and things. Then it's talking about the type of wilderness shelters. Now, I'm going to show you these real quick and let you just look at them. This is your different types, and my video is running a little bit longer than I normally like for it to do. Here's one, then here's the other one, and here's a picture of one more. And you can see where they're all blended into the surroundings here with the trees and things in this area. You can see here how they're all blended into nature in this area. And that's what you want to do. You want to blend it into the area. You make it look like debris. And again, I've already talked to you about the size of them. You don't want to build them too big. You don't want to do that. it's not. You want to stay warm and comfortable. If you build it too big, you're going to get colder. But if you build it much smaller, where you can get into it, your body heat is going to help keep that warm because it's going to generate heat up. Creating several layers of it is something you may think of during the fall months. You can really hide underneath that with leaves piled on top and things in that area. So this is just things you can look at. And I'm sorry about the video being so long, but check some of this out. It's live prepper here, and I want you to be safe, be happy. Bless you.